Army of God. I hope everybody's having a blessed day today. I'm coming up here today because I actually wanted to talk about some dreams that I had, and perhaps it could resonate with you guys or not, but it's just something personal that I thought I would share. You can go ahead and take this up with the Lord if you like, but this is what was given to me, so I thought I would share it. I feel like it was pretty significant considering the times that we're in right now. So let me go ahead and get it started. So there was a first rapture dream that I had about a year ago, and I was like in the middle of some desert with a family friend, and all of a sudden there was hills around us. We were like in the middle of a desert, and there was like a hill behind us, and yeah, so things, I don't know if you've seen those like flares and rockets that are coming down from like Israel and Iran right now, and pretty much those were hitting this mountain, and a huge airplane just came like twirling down, and my friend was like telling me like, grab my hand, come on, I can drag you to safety. I said, okay. So he reached out his hand, I believe it was his right hand, and I had my right hand, but we were like more than 20 feet apart from each other. And as soon as we seen the chaos happened, then that's when we started running towards each other. But really quickly, I have to show you guys, I thought it was really significant. I didn't know where I was at, but then I was like looking at images online about the war, and I was like, oh my gosh, something just clicked with me. Something in the background kind of looked familiar, and I just Googled it, and there seems to be a war going on around there. And this is what I dreamt of. I'm going to go ahead. I printed it out to show you guys. So it's actually in the Persian desert. I was like, I dreamt about the Persian desert. So let me show you real quick before I proceed. This is what I dreamt of. The bombs were hitting right here, and an airplane came striking down. Next, a bigger bomb struck somewhere right here in this area. And my friend was like somewhere near here, and I was like over here. We were running towards each other before anything else more worse happened. And then before we could grab each other's hand, I was being raptured up. I felt being like sucked up in the air diagonal. Say, this is my friend. And this is me. I was going up diagonally. It was like a light, blinding light that separated us. This light looked between white, silver, and gold all together. I can't explain it, but it was so beautiful, but it was so blinding. And anyways, say this is my friend, and I was going upwards like this. And as I was going like this, my hand was going like this while he was trying to reach my hand. And I had said, I forgot what I said. I don't want to take from and add to the story, my dream, sorry. And he just looked so frightened. He looked so frightened that he was getting left behind. I just remember being just sucked up the moment that something struck right here. The moment that destruction was hitting this area right here was the moment I started to be raptured up within minutes of that happening. So that's one dream. And I have another dream. Mind you, I've never been to Florida at all. Never vacationed out there or nothing like that, but I've always seen dreams, things like that. But yeah, I've never been to Florida, but I had a dream about Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I always call it Fort Worth Lauderdale. I don't know why. I've never been. So, yeah. Anyways, I had a dream that I was on that beach, and I dreamt that there was a wall. This is the beach I dreamt of right here. Printed it out. I dreamt that I was on this beach somewhere right here, and a huge wall of wave, a wave that looked like a wall. It was so high you couldn't even tell how high it was. And I seen spiritual animals right here. that were like supposed to be on Noah's Ark. And they were galloping together at the same exact moment. And it was just perfection. And they were like, how do I explain it? Lord Jesus, help me. They were glowing on like a beautiful light, and they were twinkling, sparkling, and while this whole wave was so high you couldn't even tell how high it was. Something was telling me to run into the tallest building and the tallest floor. So that's what I did. I went to the tallest building and the tallest floor, and the first thing I did was get on my knees, and I started repenting. I started repenting like my life depended on it. Rather, I knew I was going to die or not. But if I was going to go all out, I was going to go out repenting so I could make it to heaven, repenting of all my sins just in case. So that's what I did. And next thing you know, as I was on my knees praying, repenting, a huge wall, like the whole, I could hear all the walls being submerged by this humongous wave. I can hear it being submerged, like the water and everything. And I remember I had my eyes closed, and I just remember like, Lord, take my spirit, take my soul, you know, if anything happens. And yeah, I was just petrified. All of a sudden I heard the water go down. And then as soon as the water went down, I actually walked out. And when I walked out, I looked to my right, I looked to my left, and all I could see was people like me. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like it was people like me that were dreaming the same thing, having the same experience as me. And they kind of look like shadows. It's hard to explain, but I could tell they were having like the same experience as me. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. And then I walked outside, and everything was just completely wiped out and clean, but it felt like a clean feeling, super clean feeling. And I felt like everybody who walked outside had done the same thing as me. They went also to the tallest building that they could find and started repenting, and all of us were all spared. And it was like everything was just clean. And I found this very remarkable because I found a person's channel that said that when the Lord spoke to him, he seen the same thing and showed a video. The only difference was that he was showing an asteroid that hit that area. I didn't see no asteroid hit it, but I did see the whole wall of wave wall that was so high. And yeah, so it was pretty weird. And for some reason something was telling me, after I watched that video, I said, what are the odds of somebody else having that dream? Like, come on, you know. And I was just thinking that to myself. I don't know why. And I just happened to scroll down in little comments, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, down to the grid, somebody had commented down to the grid exactly the same thing that I experienced in my dream. I was like, what? I said, if this is not confirmation, like, I don't know what is. So, yeah. I was like, okay, the Lord is speaking to me here. Something about Florida. For some reason, I keep having dreams about Florida. Don't know why. I've never been there before. But I feel like significant events are going to happen there. Could be wrong, but that's what I've been feeling and sensing. And another dream I actually had, it has to do with me being on a plane. This happened a few weeks ago. I had a dream that I was on a plane. I've never been on a plane before in my life. Don't judge me. Thou shalt not judge on this channel. Okay, so I had a dream that I was on an airplane. I strapped myself in. There was hardly anybody in there. And for some reason, I ended up landing, like, something was telling me, oh, you've landed in Florida, where Disney World is at. I said, what? What am I doing in Disney World? I don't want to go to Disney World. I said, I want to go home. So as soon as I said that, I unbuckled myself and I started walking around. And when I started walking around, I started seeing people. Again, the Lord sometimes isn't allowed to show me what people look like sometimes, and he shows me them in shadows. And these people were just walking around. They looked elegant, and I felt like I was at a fancy dinner feast, and there was like gold and silver plates, fancy stuff. It also felt like we were like in a waiting room. I don't know. But all of a sudden I told myself, I said, finally, I'm going home. But before I said that, I forgot I had found a seat for me, just for me. It's like it was a reserved one, and there was hardly anybody there when the plane was taking off. But there was a seat for me, and it was more than big enough for me. But yeah, so that was one dream that was very, very significant to me, that really stood out. And there's one more dream I'd like to point out. I don't know what it means. Maybe you guys could go ahead and write in the comments below. I'm not really sure what it means, but if anybody at all possibly had the same dreams as me or anything, or maybe it's a missing puzzle to your other dream, because I know sometimes God works that way sometimes. Very mysterious ways. So this dream was also a few months ago. I can't remember down to the grid, and I don't want to say when, but I just know it was a few months ago. Okay, and the Lord gave me a dream where I was in an Arctic, I don't know if it was the Arctic Ocean or what, but there was a huge iceberg, and all of a sudden I see this beautiful pink fish sparkling. I'm going to show you what the fish look like really quick, because after I had this dream, I see these fish look very familiar. So I looked online, and I felt like it had to do with a children's book or something like that. But these were very significant in my dream, because each one signified something in my dream. So this is what I found right here. It was exactly a pink fish like this, but humongous. But all I could see was from the face and above, like the middle part. This part was a little bit shorter. And then I dreamt about the blue fish, okay? They look exactly like that. First, the pink fish popped up from this little circle area. It's kind of like ice fishing. You know how ice fishing, they typically have like a little hole, and it's like a little puddle of water where they could just go fishing, and the fish come out of there in just that little area. That's how it was. It was a pink fish that came out first, and all of a sudden this whole scene pops up, and I'm seeing a bunch of, it was like a demonic scene. I don't know how to explain it, but this was very demonic. Car accidents. They were also looking like black shadows. But again, the Lord does not reveal these to me for some reason, but I just know it was scary, and it was as if nobody was in these cars. It was as if people abandoned these cars out of nowhere, and they were just piling up back and forth like into this iceberg. And it was just horrible, the way they were spinning, flipping, and bashing into this iceberg. And then once that scene was done, I could barely even look at it. I was petrified and scared. And the moment that was done, something was telling me, like, look at the water again. So I look at the water again, and out comes the bluefish, like this, upwards. And it was like this. The rest of it was up, like, from here, the base and above. And I seen that, and then again I turned to my right, and oh gosh, what was it? I want to remember. Yeah, the moment that happened, it was like complete stillness. It's like, it was so quiet, you guys can literally hear a pin drop right there. That's how quiet it was. And this silence was not good. All of a sudden I felt this huge fear come inside of me. And all of a sudden, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Jumanji, but they can hear like a huge stampede slowly, and it started getting louder and louder. That's how it was. After the stillness came, it was like a stillness and a blackness. And all of a sudden came the stampede of people just raging with fear. And what was so significant about it too is that these people were actually holding on to electronics. I don't know why but it looked like they were like grabbing stuff from the store, or I don't know what, but everything was electronics, and they each held on to something electronic, like a techno gadget, TV, radio, phones, whatever. But in my dream, something was telling me it had to do with electronics, and that people were just running with fear. And I've never seen anybody so scared, and I was so scared. I was just like, Lord, take me out of this dream. And eventually, after that happened, I woke up. But I also had a recent one about 3 days ago, and that one really stood out to me. And that one really gave me a fright, because everything is coming to pass, as it should, of course. But it was really frightening, because in my dream, the Lord took me up into space. I was in a black space, and I was like looking at Earth from space, and all I could see is like, what was it? It's like the blue part of the equator, not the equator, but like of the Earth's atmosphere, the blue glowing around the Earth. And then I could see the United States. The United States stood out to me just like a puzzle. And all that was on it was the American flag. And all of a sudden it started to shake like this, like everything. The United States, and it started like crumbling. In the moment that happened, I seen what seemed to be God's hand reach huge from space with a giant scroll. And all of a sudden it was zipped up quickly, and darkness hit, and that was it. I woke up with fear, and I said, wow. I immediately went to scripture. So this is what I found pertaining to the scroll. Where was it at? Yes. Revelations 6:14, where it says, the sky vanished like a scroll that is being rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. That's real. That is very, very much real. So, yeah, that's that. I just thought I'd share my dreams with you guys. Oh, and before I forget, there's one more other dream I actually had. All right, one more dream. Hang in there if you guys can. A dream that I actually had a few days before this. I dreamt that there was some carpenter-looking man in a green, huge jacket, huge green, puffy green jacket, and he was helping me pack my bags. And remind you, I only have one child, but for some reason I had 3 children in my dream, and he was just helping me pack. And I was saying goodbye to my best friend, and mind you, she's the one that's moving out of state. I'm not the one that was planning to move anywhere soon, and for some reason I was the one that was moving. And this carpenter looked like Middle Eastern, very friendly, but he was helping me pack my bags because I was going somewhere. I knew that I was going somewhere and never coming back, but I was like happy about it. So most of my dreams have been about me taking off or going home, or clearly packing my bags and not coming home. And I feel like the Lord is coming soon. I know it. I feel it with my every being. The Lord is coming soon, y'all. We need to stay prayed up. I'm actually curious if anybody else has had like a rapture dream or anything pertaining to the same dream about maybe packing or going home. Yeah, but I'll get into that stuff some more later on. But for now, I just thought I'd share my dreams with you guys. And what I was just curious if anybody else had anything similar they'd like to share. Because I know dreams and visions are advancing a lot more in these end of days, just as the Bible said it would. So I'm very curious. I want to know if I'm not the only one having these type of dreams as well. So God bless everyone. Don't forget to repent. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Love y'all.